Hello and welcome to the hard sell, where the stick in the swill-bucket rattles back. You might have heard some surprising television news. Sky One has been diagnosed with a terminal case of rationalisation. The channel at the centre of the vast satellite empire that Murdoch built, but thankfully has nothing to do with anymore. Not that Comcast are that much better, but they definitely are. Will die screaming in a pool of its own blood at the end of this month. Well, it'll die anyway. I'll do a full video on it later, but for now, let's go back to its very earliest days.
This is Sky.
Well, not quite the earliest. It actually started in 1982 as a sort of prototype thing to see if it could be done at all. Turned out it could, but no one cared. Rupert Murdoch bought it, renamed it Sky, and tried to turn it into something people actually wanted to take the trouble to watch. Which was easier said than done. Today's adverts come from the start of a typical day's viewing on what was then simply called Sky, because it was just one channel. There was nothing to distinguish it from.
It's Monday and a bright new week on Sky, with DJ Cat to start us off.
It's hard to say precisely when, but it's probably some point in 1985 or 86. It's a very different channel in those days, of course. In fact, an argument could be made that it's not the same channel at all. The name Sky One only appeared in 1989, when Murdoch decided to tighten up his newly relaunched service. One of the main changes post-Astra was that it now broadcasts solely to the British Isles, where back in the day it covered most of Western Europe, which actually made it much easier for them to find adverts. They had a whole continent to choose from. Afterwards they found themselves falling back on selling other news international properties, mostly their papers, mostly their tabloid papers in particular. For some reason the Times didn't get as much of a look in, not as much audience overlap, I suppose. Failing that, there were acres of public information films and dense clusters of trailers. But before Astra was launched, when Sky was one single channel bouncing itself off the orbital test satellite into various cable companies, back when, in short, there was no reason for it to exist except that it could, the commercial breaks were odd in a different way, bizarre and faintly alien, or in other words, foreign.
If you want everything all clean and shiny, but don't want to spend all day cleaning and shining, here's something worth trying. It's a liquid, and it's called... well, you can see what it's called.
This first one's actually quite clever. For an advert, anyway.
It cleans and shines without any rinsing your floors, tiles, and worktops, leaving everything shiny. Now, can you see yourself using anything else? Ask for it by name.
Ajax Dike.
You notice how it never actually says the name, or even properly shows the logo of the product in question. The clever part is how this gimmick is linked to the standard advertorial brag about how great the product is. Ajax Floor and Surface Cleaner is so damn good, it polishes your kitchen up to such a reflective shine that it's transformed into a hall of mirrors. The stuff's so good it's actually kind of fucked up its own advert. I also appreciate that they follow through on their premise. They don't have a moment where she realises what's going on and the camera turns to face her properly. They actually carry on with the whole exagger-daiquil notion and let the audience figure it out for themselves. It's good to flatter their intelligence like that. And yes, that is patronising. But this is advertising, so that's like saying water is wet. It's just lucky that this is a brand familiar to the British audience, which even then was the main target for Sky, being in the English language and all. I think you can still get Ajax here now, in fact, if you look carefully. But the likes of Flash and Jif and Domestos took the market over so thoroughly that they stopped bothering to advertise it in the UK 25 odd years ago. Talking of the English-speaking world, this is clearly a Dutch advert, or German, or some foreign devils that's been dubbed into English.
It cleans and shines without any rinsing your floors, tiles, and worktops.
It mostly works okay since there's little synced dialogue, but it strikes me as an odd decision to dub it into English with a thick accent. It feels more honest in a mad way, like it's admitting to its obvious foreign nature rather than trying to hide it like some dubbed adverts do. But it doesn't make the voice actress any more comprehensible. Still, of the many examples in this break of a foreign advert adapted for English-speaking viewers, which is pretty much all of them, this is probably the best. They've made some kind of effort, at least. At the other end of the spectrum, we've got this.
Ajax Ballisto. That was really great rowing, dear.
Aye, aye, Captain. And I've got something to eat for us as well.
Ballisto. Since when do you eat chocolate?
Since Ballisto, the biscuit bar. Here, try it. You'll like the taste.
Ballisto, either as muesli or corn mix, wholesome bars made with whole wheat and delicious chocolate.
Ballisto tastes great. It's different, not so sweet.
Ballisto, the biscuit bar.
Right, well, obviously this advert is basically shit for multiple reasons, so let's go through it. First, this gives the lie to what I said earlier about the UK being the main target for Sky Channel, so thanks ever so much for that. So much for looking like I know what I'm talking about. It's more accurate to say that the UK was the target as far as Murdoch was concerned anyway. That was where he wanted to build his Sky empire, and did, concurrently with the Fox empire in America. But in 1985, Sky Channel unavoidably broadcast across the continent. It wasn't until the Astra network went up in 1988 that they had any control over that. A clearly West German advert for a West German product that wasn't even available in the UK at the time. In fact, Mars, more specifically in those days Mars West Germany, didn't launch it here until 2011, so you're really on a hiding to nothing if you're a contemporaneous viewer after a sort of cross between a Tracker bar and a Twix. Sounds alright, but the dubbing job here suggests it might not actually be aimed at human beings.
That was really great rowing, dear.
Aye, aye, Captain. And I've got something to eat for us as well.
People don't talk like that. Not even Germans. I'd like to think the original dialogue was at least a smidgen more naturalistic than this, which isn't hard.
Since when do you eat chocolate?
Since Ballisto, the biscuit bar. Here, try it. You'll like the taste.
This feels like it was scripted by an AI, but first they hit it on the head with a croquet mallet. And again, it's clearly dubbed by second language English speakers who don't know where to put the stress.
Here, try it. You'll like the taste.
You like the taste? It doesn't help that whatever they were saying in German clearly had fewer syllables, so they had to gabble really fast to fill the space in a language not their own. I hope they got paid danger money for this.
Ballisto tastes great. It's different, not so sweet.
Can you imagine this couple's pillow talk? That orgasm was excellent. I enjoyed the movement of your Kegel muscles, dear.
Tastes great.
And keeps you in shape.
No, it doesn't. Like I said, Ballisto wasn't available in Britain, although it was in Ireland. That's just as well, because it's hard to imagine this advertising persuading anyone to buy one. No harm, no foul.
And keeps you in shape.
My son will always be a dirty, messy kid.
Oh, come on, Mum.
Another dubbed foreign advert, probably from France in this case. This one was remade a couple of years later in English, so we can do a comparison. Here's the original, as redubbed and shown on Sky in 1985.
Look at all this greasy dirt. At lower temperatures, you'll never get that clean.
Maybe not with a powder, Mum, but I always wash with liquid Vizier. And the Vizier ball.
Liquid?
Yes, you pour it in the Vizier ball.
A plastic ball, Ray? And you want to put that in the machine?
Yes, it's very simple.
She's washing my son's shirts with a ball.
With the Vizier ball, Vizier penetrates directly into the heart of the fibers like no powder can at low temperatures.
Look, Mum, fantastic, eh?
Yeah. But you sure this shirt is the same one?
You can count on it. Vizier and Vizier ball clean right to the heart of the wash.
And here's the British remake from 1987 or so.
Mucky devil, my son, look at that grease. You'll have to sling it. Oh, no, Mum. Ariel liquid. Liquid? You on me.
It's new over here, but this is how we are doing it in Holland. Pre-treat with Ariel liquid, so it gets to work on the stain even before the wash.
He should have married a Lancashire lass.
Oh, dispenser, pour the liquid into the plastic bowl.
Don't tell me you put the ball into the machine.
Yeah.
She's washing my son's shirts with lukewarm water in a plastic bowl.
See? It gets to work straight away. The aerial bulb puts the liquid right in the heart of the wash. Grease stain? Go.
Must be a different shirt.
Color? Cups? Everything clean. It's good, yeah?
New Ariel liquid. It sounds crazy, but you find it cleans to the heart of the wash.
He's good.
Yeah.
Obviously, the main change is the brand. Vizier is actually the French equivalent of Daz, or if you're American, Tide. But over here, the advert was repurposed for the same company's flagship brand, Ariel. On a shop-for-shop basis, very little is different. They're clearly working from more or less the same storyboard. The toothsome Daron type is replaced by Patsy Byrne, who's cuddlier and less like some sort of deep-sea fish. I apologise to any French viewers if this lady is famous over there. And they've added a funny foreigner premise that, okay, you'd expect the sexy daughter-in-law to be French or Swedish rather than Dutch, so that's original, I suppose. And it prevents the advert from just being boilerplate mother-in-law jokes. Mind you, the dubbed Vizier version doesn't really manage even that. Here's a secret about dubbing. Way back in the day, European films, before live sound recording became the accepted norm, a European film would be made twice, or at least its dialogue scenes would. Once properly in its own language, and once with the actors speaking English translations, often phonetically and just so their lips would match the overdub. The reason they did that, apart from making it seem more natural, is that different languages have different rhythms, and a lot of the sense and nuance in dialogue comes from the rhythm. In this respect, dubbing one language straight over people speaking another can be like jamming a square peg in a round hole, especially the sort of rapid-fire dialogue you'll find in commercials. Which is why there are barely any surviving jokes in the Vizier advert. They have to prioritise getting the information out. And then as a final punchline twist, Vizier isn't even available under that name anywhere in the English-speaking world. Just Western Europe, particularly France. So the whole thing is a completely pointless endeavour. Hooray!
Vizier and Vizier Ball clean right to the heart of the wash.
It's almost as if the break can sense this catch-22 because it largely gives up on English at this point. Not that you'd notice for the majority of this one. It's a fairly standard premise, everything sleepy and static until a hot woman, representing the product, arrives and wakes everyone up with a song and dance routine and whatever's being advertised. Orangina, in this case. Being an orangeade, a summery kind of drink, there's lots of room for sex sells, close-ups of lips and eyes and bare skin, so that's handy. It could work perfectly well as an international advert with no words at all, to be honest, but that's ultimately not the case.
Orangina. Schütteln, Fruchtfleisch mischen und schon ist er da. Der Geschmack, den sich alles dreht. Orangina, der Geschmack, den sich alles dreht.
Auf English, Orangina, the taste everything revolves around. Get it? Because it makes things spin? Because it's so tasty?
Orangina, der Geschmack, den sich alles dreht.
The masked racing team is here.
Oh, hey, English again. Wait, what was that?
The masked racing team is here.
Oh, damn, Mask. I remember that. Don't remember what the fuck it was about. I just remember seeing the toys and the little square picture books. Looking it up, it was your standard buy all our playsets and toys good guy acronym versus bad guy acronym setup. Mobile Armoured Strike Command, with a K, against Venom, the vicious evil network of mayhem, which isn't even trying. Also, they had their own Transformers. Sort of. Look, these American kids seem to know what's what.
Wildcat's a meteor. Come back.
Roger, Wildcat.
I've spotted the Venom buzzard. and I'm in pursuit.
On my way, Clutch.
Looks like company, Max. Buzzard, detach. Wildcat convert. Trouble ahead.
Is it just me, or is this detaching and converting starting to seem too much like hard work? Just give me a laser to shoot.
Wildcat, Buzzard, and Meteor each sold separately with a figure. Meteor closing.
You're outnumbered, Mask. Meteor release. Time to change the odds.
Really, the only thing that set Mask apart from Transformers or G.I. Joe was that it was French. And nowhere near as popular. Also, what the fuck does any of this have to do with racing?
The Mask Racing Team is here.
The answer to that is nothing yet. It looks like the series was just about to be relaunched along more speed racer type lines, but it wasn't there yet. So we've got this bizarre opening to the advert that's like a message from the future or something.
Mask. Revolution is the ultimate weapon.
Finally, another one that gives up on English altogether. But it's smart enough to primarily communicate its message visually, which is particularly easy because it's a beauty product. Why do I get the feeling this guy wants to eat my skin? Palmolive. Alright then, Palmolive. That's actually much cooler. I'm going to keep calling it that forever.
Tú, el palmolive y tu piel. Jabón, palmolive. Despierta tu piel y la vuelve irresistible. Jabón, palmolive. La nueva sensación de suavidad.
Oh. Bit of an abrupt ending. If I spoke Spanish, I'd have been expecting it. Or was that Italian?
This is Sky.
Whatever, that's what paid for Sky Television before satellite television was really a thing. When they were just a pan-European cable channel that existed hand-to-mouth largely for its own sake. The acorn from which sprang a network so huge and all-encompassing that a basic network like Sky One that's not about anything specific no longer makes sense. But at least everything they advertise these days exists in the country to which it's transmitting. Look out for the video essay on the subject at the end of this month. Until then, I have no closing catchphrase. Get out! You've been watching a Bob the Fish production. Thanks! If you haven't found it already, be sure to check out our website at bobthefish.org.uk. Literally hundreds of videos not unlike this one that will make you laugh, think and realise new things or your money back. Which works out great because they're all absolutely free. All of this is possible thanks to the not unique way that Bob the Fish productions are paid for by you, the viewing public, via Patreon. For a donation of as little as £1 a month, not only do you ensure that I still have food and shelter so I can carry on making these programmes, but you could become eligible for a whole host of cool extras. New video essays, special event live streams, all my content a week in advance, and my book on the history of the BBC, Rule the Waves, chapter by chapter as it's written. And some cake, if you go out and buy a cake and eat it while you're watching. And if you don't want to support on a monthly basis, you can make a one-off donation via coffee. It all helps stave off scurvy. bobthefish.org.uk. You make it what it is.